Hey everyone, my name is Isaiah, and welcome to the first episode of my channel. This is where I will be discussing with you certain historical events that happened throughout the ages, from the dawn of civilization to the present day. For now, I will be talking to you about the Persian Wars, a series of Persian invasions into Greece during the early 400s BCE. This war has influenced the present day, as you will see later in this series. And yes, this is a series. This is the first episode of this series on the Persian Wars. So, without further ado, let's get started. Now, before we talk about the conflict itself, we have to introduce our contestants. So, on one hand, we have Greece, which isn't a single independent country. Rather, it is broken up into countless city-states that are self-governing and are independent from other entities, which means they're countries, little, tiny, mini countries. Anyway, this is a map of Greece, and here are all the Greek city-states. Well, not all of it, some of them. These are some of the major ones. In case you don't know what they are, these are Sparta. This is Sparta, Argos, Corinth, Thebes, and Athens. Everyone knows Athens. Okay, so I created this fictional city-state in order to explain this idea, this whole notion of a city-state to you. Now, this is a very, very simplified representation of an ancient Greek city-state. Because not every city-state is oval. Not every city-states have perfectly straight streets. But I hope this will give you at least some insight into what life in a city-state was like. So in the center of my city-state, we have an Acropolis, the Acropolis, which is a hill. And on that hill is all the major religious, much of the major religious and government buildings. The Acropolis is like the downtown for many city-states. Here are the temples in my city-state. Each temple is dedicated to a specific Greek god. And there are lots and lots of Greek gods. These aren't the only ones. 1, 2, 3. This is where the government of my city-state meets. Now, each city-state has its own form of government. Some have kings. Some have a council. Some have democracies. My city-state has a council, which is known as an oligarchy. An oligarchy is a system of government which means that power is held by a select few individuals. So this is where they meet. The council meets. This here is a theater, which is essentially a theater where people go and watch plays and stuff. Also the theater. Wait, is it? No. Wait, it's the Odeon. It's pretty easy to get these two confused. And the Odeon is actually a kind of theater. It's just for music, concerts, and musical performances. Yeah. As you can see, this city-state is located next to the ocean. And like any city-state connected to the ocean, this city-state engages heavily in trade. So this is the wharf where much of the trade happens, and these are the two ships. This one's bringing in imports, and this one's taking out exports. This city-state exports the stuff that it's good at making, such as olive oil and wine, and imports the stuff that it's not good at making, like wheat, barley, cheese, pork, glass, rugs, and ivory. Yeah, that's a hell of a lot of stuff. Go to like Brilliant or something and learn new skills. You should be able to produce these. Gosh, disappointing in you Greeks. Anyway, this here is the Agora, which is a public square that also doubles as a marketplace. That also, I don't know, triples as the center for public life in this city-state. With with cafes and market stalls and booths and just people talking and flirting and doing their business and I don't know. Moving on. Okay. So before we move on to the other hand, we're gonna talk about Greek society and education. So this is a man. He has lots of rights. This is a woman. Usually she has some rights and not a lot, but sometimes in some city-states, women have the same rights as men, and in other city-states, women have no rights at all. And this is a slave. And of course, slaves have no rights whatsoever. Nope, nothing. I'm looking at you, South USA. Anyway, this here's a boy, a Greek boy. Most Greek boys go to school, where they learn music, art, science, math, literature, sometimes even politics in democracies. This is a girl. She does not go to school. Instead, she stays at home where her mom teaches her to sew, cook, and run a household and the other stuff that women should do. Not that I'm discriminating against them, but you know, this is the mindset at the time. Okay, finally we can get to the Persians. Oh, that was a bit lengthy. So this is a map of the Persian Empire. As you can see, it is very big. And this is King Darius the Great, who ruled the Persian Empire at the time of the outbreak of the Persian Wars. Now, Darius, he divided his empire into 20 provinces, which he called satrapies, because each was governed by a governor or satrap. Darius also minted his own coins with his image on them, like most kings should. I mean, what better way to spread propaganda than minting coins with your own face on them? Maybe Trump should do that to get more popularity. And many satrapies were allowed to practice their own religion, which is kind of lax for an ancient empire. As you can see here, this satrapy, known as Lydia, worships the Greek gods, many of the same Greek gods as they worship in mainland Greece. There was also no slavery. Everyone got paid, and life here was pretty good, and the people were happy. Morale was high, and the government was popular. So now we come to the real story, the beginning of the Persian Wars. So in 549 BC, the first emperor of Persia, Cyrus the Great, famous freer of the Jews, he invaded and conquered a region known as Ionia in western Anatolia, in what is now Turkey. He then, unlike most other satrapies, he imposed high taxes on them. He forced them to serve in the army, and he confiscated all their property. Morale dropped lower and lower, as did popularity with the government and Cyrus's approval ratings, and his successor Cambyses' approval ratings. And yeah, you could probably guess how well that went down. The logical thing to do when you're being suppressed by your government. Now, being a Greek colony, the Ionians appealed to their Greek buddies for help, specifically Athens. Athens was like, sure, no problem, bro, and sent some soldiers to fight in Ionia. But then, when Athens and the Ionians won, Athens went back to do their own democracy business, I don't know, and left the Ionians in the dust. Following this, Darius was pretty miffed at the Greeks for helping his own subjects revolt. So he decided, you know what? They need some punishment. I'm gonna go invade Greece and burn down Athens. So at first he politely asked permission for him to come invade Greece from the Greeks, which of course the Greeks denied. Oh, by the way, this is Sparta. This is the symbol for Sparta, and this is the symbol for Thebes. And in case you haven't noticed, this is the symbol for Athens. I will be using these symbols throughout the entire series. And as a result, Darius decided, you know what? I'm not going to ask permission from anyone. I'm just going to go ahead. So now I am running out of time, and I must go now. Like this video and subscribe to my channel, because I would love to see more people joining my community than a grand total of 0. And I am not a historian, so please yell at me about what I didn't include, and write in the comments below and tell me what we should talk about next, and I'll see you next time.